The small house, nestled in the foot of the hills, was draped in a thin, shimmering blanket of snow. It was deep night, and the moon shed a pale light, making everything look blue and silver. The silence was profound, broken only by the faint whistle of the wind, which seeped through the cracks in the old windows, creating a cold, melancholic hum. Inside, beside a low, flickering fire, sat 70-year-old Grandma Fatima. She was huddled against the cold, but there was a warmth in her eyes that seemed to defy the chill of the room. Her gaze was fixed on the window, where distant Christmas lights twinkled, announcing the joyous celebrations in the wealthier homes far away. In her hands was her old frayed shawl, a gift from her late husband many years ago. Next to her lay a small wooden box, carefully covered with a worn-out blanket. As the clock struck 8, the customary expected time of her son's flight, Fatima's hands trembled as she opened the box. Tucked inside the cotton wool lay an old, broken wooden train toy. It was the most cherished possession of her only son, Aarif, 50 years ago. This was not just a toy, it was the emblem of his innocence and the memory of their bygone happy years. The train was made of wood, painstakingly crafted by Aarif's father when the boy was just 5. Now one wheel was missing, the paint was chipped in many places, and the metal parts bore a slight rust. But to Fatima, it shone just as brightly as it did on that first Christmas morning. For the past 10 years, every Christmas Eve, Fatima sat in this very spot, waiting for Aarif. Aarif had moved out to the city, becoming a successful businessman, climbing the corporate ladder, and leaving his humble old home far behind. Every year, about 2 weeks before Christmas, he would make a brief phone call. His voice would be rushed, as if he were squeezed between important meetings. He always made the same promise. "Next year, Ma, I promise I will come. I will come and we will decorate the Christmas tree together, the old-fashioned way, and eat your homemade cake. This year, there's a crucial deal. You understand, right?" But the promise was never kept. Time passed, Christmas came and went, yet Aarif never returned. Each promise turned into a lingering disappointment, weighing heavily on Fatima's heart. Even the neighbors had stopped asking. They knew the old woman's waiting was just a lonely ritual. Tonight was Christmas Eve. Fatima took the train out of the box. She placed it in her lap and traced the spot where the wheel was missing with her finger. Tears streamed down her wrinkled cheeks, but she cried silently, unwilling to let any sound break the sacred silence of the night. "Oh, my Lord," Fatima whispered, covering her eyes and praying, her voice filled with anguish. "I do not wish for gifts or any new shiny thing. I only wish for one glimpse of my son, just for 10 minutes, so I can give him this broken train and tell him that my love has not diminished despite the years of distance, so he remembers that his home is still waiting for him, even if he has forgotten me." The night grew deeper. The weight of sleep began to overtake her frail body. She leaned her head against the wooden plank and drifted off, the broken train still firmly clutched in her hands. It was almost 11 o'clock. The cold was at its peak. Outside, the snowfall had intensified. Suddenly, even in her sleep, Fatima heard a faint, familiar sound of a car pulling up outside the house. It wasn't the sound of the city's speedy cars, but a sturdy, older vehicle navigating the rough stone-paved path of the area. Her heart began to pound, feeling as though it would burst out of her chest. She woke up instantly, holding the train tightly, and rushed toward the window, trembling. Standing by her small wooden door was a tall shadow. He wore a dark coat, and a thin layer of snow clung to his face. It was Aarif. He had no longer been the innocent child of the past, but a man well into his 40s. He had grown up, His hair was beginning to show the silver of success, and his face bore the marks of fatigue and tension, the undeniable signs of corporate life. But in his eyes, Fatima saw the same old shame, anxiety, and deep love. Aarif put his luggage down and knocked on the door, a hopeful yet fearful knock. Tears sprang from Fatima's eyes. These were tears of joy, surprise, and the end of a very long wait. Her weak legs suddenly found strength, and she hurried to the door. As soon as Aarif opened the door, he saw Fatima standing there. She looked frail, yet her face held all the happiness in the world, and most importantly, in her hands was that old broken train toy. The sight shattered Aarif. He forgot everything, his success, his multi-million-dollar business, his schedule. All he remembered how foolish he had been. He broke down, falling to his knees and touching his old mother's feet, his snow-cold tears falling on her slippers. "Ma, I'm so sorry. I became too busy. I forgot that the real wealth is not in city buildings, but at your feet. For years, I mistook Christmas for just a holiday, forgetting its true spirit. This year, I realized that no success, no deal is greater than your love and the memory attached to this broken train." Fatima embraced him. Her silent love washed away all the grievances, all the distance, and all the pain. She couldn't utter a word of complaint. Her silence and the gentle squeeze of her hug spoke volumes. "I knew you would come, my son," Fatima said, smiling. She tenderly stroked Aarif's graying hair. "This train is for you. My greatest gift was my waiting. I always had faith." Aarif took the broken train. In that moment, the Christmas lights outside, the expensive gifts, everything became meaningless. For him, the broken train was the most valuable proof of his mother's selfless love, patience, and eternal hope. He looked at the missing wheel of the train and vowed in his heart that he would fix it himself. That year, Fatima and Aarif decorated the Christmas tree together. And as Aarif placed the broken train beneath the tree, he felt that the true spirit of Christmas, unconditional love, had finally returned to their home and to his heart. The train was no longer just a toy. It had become the anchor of their strong bond.